All right, well, we're at our lucky number 10, and we're just a couple or a few minutes past the hour now, so I think we are good to go ahead and get started. This session is being recorded, and we are happy to share it out afterwards. So if anyone needs to drop earlier, for anyone who was not able to attend today, we will be sure to share this information out after the event. And so great to meet you all. My name is Jessie Gosman. I am a manager of our adoption and change management team here at Valorum Reply. I've been with Reply for just about 5 years now, and I am located out of New Jersey. So again, really representing the adoption change management team and focusing on the people side of change for any digital transformation. And of course, today we're focusing on Viva Engage. And I'm super excited to pass it over to my colleague Herman, who will also be leading part of the discussion today.
Thank you, Jesse. Hello, everyone. My name is Herman Stashinsky, and I am Microsoft 365 Development Lead here at Valorum Reply, overseeing Microsoft 365 application custom builds. And today I'll be covering migration part of this session.
Awesome. Thank you, Herman. And so for anyone who is new to Reply, anyone who has not worked with us before, at Valorum Reply, we focus on M365 solutions, and we are a part of that larger Reply network. So over the last 3 decades, Reply has really grown into a global, decentralized network of highly specialized companies. And the Reply network consists of 16,000 experts worldwide, really helping other organizations stay ahead of the curve and, up to date on the latest and greatest technologies. So maybe you have worked with Valorum Reply before, maybe you've worked with another more niche reply consultancy, but we all fall under that Reply umbrella, working towards digital transformations with more boutique or niche expertise. At Valorum Reply, again, we focus on modern work through the lens of Microsoft. So we specialize in Microsoft solutions. Whether you're looking for a new social tool like Viva Engage, or whether you're thinking about revamping your intranet on modern SharePoint, or doing a migration, a Copilot rollout, whatever the case may be. We bring a lot of technical security and adoption guidance to, your internal initiatives. And so that's what really makes us a great partner, is just our ability to support from end to end, looking through both the technical lens, but also the adoption and sustainability lens as well. Our teams here, we are a preferred Microsoft partner, and we have lots of M365 certifications and ProSci change management certifications, and PMP to drive our project management space as well. And just to kind of round out the team here at Valorum Reply, this is an overview of the full team. So when we think about M365 technical consultancy, we have our technical consultants, we have our developers, we have our experts. For the change management team, we have our consultants and our in-house design team that can really help bring a campaign to life, focusing on motion and UI and UX graphic design. And as I mentioned earlier, our project management team to just make sure everything is staying on task, and we are able to support worldwide. Now, getting into some of the specifics of our session today, what can we expect to cover? So first, we're going to start off by just talking a little bit more about the Viva Engage, as it's a part of the employee experience platform as a whole. So a lot of us know that Viva was introduced as Microsoft's employee experience platform, and what role does Viva Engage really play within that suite of tools? Then we are going to talk about Viva Engage and Copilot, and I'm going to hand it over to Herman to talk more about what the migration process looks like. If you're someone who is using another social platform right now, maybe it's sunsetting, maybe you just want to consolidate tools and continue to focus on, the suite that you have available with your M365 license. What could that look like for you when we think about migrating to Viva Engage? Is it something that you've even thought of before? And at the end of the session today, we're going to wrap up with some success stories and examples of the work that we've done with Viva Engage across other organizations. And so just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. We're going to ask everyone to remain on mute just to avoid any background noises or distractions. However, if you do have questions along the way, don't hold back. We certainly want to hear from you. Feel free to pop those questions in the Q&A or in the chat. We have other colleagues from Reply that will be keeping an eye on the chat and will be sure to get back to you. If not, we should have plenty of time at the end to, address any outstanding or new questions as well. If you see anything that you like or anything that excites you throughout this presentation, feel free to stay engaged with those Teams meetings reactions. We all know and love those Teams meetings reactions. And last but not least, this session is being recorded for anyone who is unable to attend today, and we'll share them out afterwards. Thank you, Daniel and Tim, for the reactions. All right, so moving on to our first section for today, Viva Engage within the employee experience platform. So when we talk about the employee experience platform, Microsoft's vision is pretty clear. It's all about bringing together things like connection, purpose, growth, and well-being all into the flow of work. So really focusing on meeting employees where they are. And within that larger ecosystem of Viva, Viva Engage specifically plays a unique and powerful role. It's the heartbeat of the community. It's all about storytelling. It's about cultivating, a space of knowledge sharing and culture and growing all inside the digital workspace. So that's really the foundation that Microsoft is looking to set up for success within the employee experience through the lens of Viva Engage specifically. It's all about giving employees a platform to share their voice, bring their best self to work every day, express themselves, build connection. So it's really giving them a space to, to contribute beyond just the work that it is that they're doing. And so what is the power of this tool? What does this really mean to employees in the back end? To us, maybe to team leads or to businesses, it can just seem like another tool, but what impact does it have to our end users? So it really empowers them and gives them the confidence that they can express and share their best self at work. It gives them a sense of belonging, knowing that there are people that even want to connect, that prioritize that connection, that there are people like them, or maybe people that are different from them that they can learn from. It's a community for support where they can lean on one another and learn from and grow from one another. And it's a space where, hopefully we're having that leadership presence. That way, end users are getting the sense that, okay, my leaders care about what's going on. They're making an effort to stay connected. They're making an effort to share what's going on in their world and really actively break down those silos and their barriers. This makes me feel like, I'm a part of the mission that we are actively working towards. So these are just a lot of the core values that are rooted within Viva Engage and some of the ways that it can really make a difference to end users and to employees. Ultimately, we know when end users, or our employees, they feel connected, they feel appreciated, they feel like they're contributing, that ultimately fills their cup and is able to keep that well-oiled machine going within the organization. And so what are some of the key strengths or benefits or some of the key ways that we think about using Viva Engage? So communications is where most organizations start with Viva Engage, but it's more than just posting announcements. It's our modern way to, again, break down those silos and barriers and promote two-way communication. So instead of the one-way email blasting that lands in an overloaded inbox and ultimately gets ignored and bogged down by other items, with Viva Engage, you can think about hosting town halls, Ask Me Anything sessions, and if we're just focusing on the posting element, so rich media campaigns that can invite feedback, encourage interaction and engagement. Here's a fun statistic to start with. Communications that are shared on Viva Engage actually reach employees 4.5 times faster than email. So again, if you've done the groundwork, if you have a Viva Engage community that is up and running and active, that really is the place to be. Microsoft reports that, again, communications reach employees 4.5 times faster in Engage compared to email. And so we know that that speed matters, but also so does the quality of connection. Again, the difference between posts and communications within Viva Engage compared to email is that it's interactive, it's inclusive, and it scales to large audiences. We know that Viva Engage is a great platform to share information in a couple of different ways. So I mentioned using announcements, things like cover photos. It gives us an opportunity to brand communications, get people excited. We can modernize communications with those rich text elements that we mentioned. Interactive messages and posts featuring conversations from special guests, promoting them across the organization, and through a communication lens. I know numbers is always something that is super important. So we have the opportunity to measure engagement within Viva Engage. This gives us an idea of, okay, are we reaching our intended audience? How are our communications trending? How can we do this better? And really, what are people liking? The insights are super valuable to just help us reevaluate our communication strategy. What's landing well, what are people reading and interested in, and then, course correcting as needed going forward. Campaigns are one of my favorite elements within Viva Engage. It's more than just an announcement and more than just a communication feature. To me, when I think about campaigns, it's really a way where people can rally around an initiative with hashtags, progress trackers, and just a community-driven energy. So this makes something like it just helps us work towards initiatives. It helps us diversify campaigns and again, bring people together. So communities are I call it the heartbeat of, Viva Engage. And this is a fun way where we can, again, just switch things up, get people involved in a new way and have them working towards a common goal. So campaigns are super fun when you're able to really bring them to life and implement them in an effective way. Leveraging Viva Engage to strengthen employee relationships. So this is a great way where, again, people can connect with leaders, feel a sense of belonging. I know one example of how, leaders can really make an impact and we can break down those silos is one of our success stories that we'll actually see at the end. Was where leaders were regularly posting updates. They called it, I think it was either a his name was Ted. I think they rebranded their own TED Talk, but he was actually regularly posting pictures from the field where he was having some more strategic conversations, learning, being more hands-on with products and announcements. So again, breaking down those silos and giving the rest of the employees insight into what a day in his life looks like. So it just makes it more personable. It opens the door for communication, and it gets people more excited about what goes on behind the scenes. And, a regular flow of work that maybe they're not necessarily privy to. So it just strengthens that bond there, even if you're not necessarily regularly communicating with them from there on out. Connecting with your community. So one benefit of Viva Engage, as we know, is that it can meet employees where they are. So accessing it right within Teams from their mobile app or mobile devices, whether they're a desk worker or a frontline worker, whether they're on a laptop, a cell phone, or something like a tablet. Really easy to engage everyone and give everyone a way that they can contribute. We talked a little bit about authentic leadership, and this is oftentimes one of the key pieces that is missing when we see organizations launch Viva Engage. There can be lots of great initial campaigns to launch Viva Engage. We have a lot of organizations right now using Copilot to maybe launch Viva Engage for the first time or like reignite some communities within Viva Engage. We also had a really strong example, a client in the past that launched Viva Engage with the Olympics, with the Summer Olympics. So really having everyone rally together, share updates, share predictions, what they're interested in, bond over, their more unique interests, which, specific campaigns like that are always great. But if we don't have that leadership presence, that's always something that we want to see where we can. We know that leaders have influence. We know that, if a leadership is on Viva Engage, that end users are going to really feel like that's a place that they should be for updates, for engagement. and that it is a tool that's here to stay within the organization. So keep that in mind, if that's something that you don't have already, or if you are, just starting to think about rolling out Viva Engage, definitely think about having that leadership presence there because we know the influence and impact that it has on end user adoption. And so I just want to wrap up with some of the ways or the way that Viva Engage does fit into the rest of our suite of tools. So probably a lot of us are familiar with Viva Engage by now and some of those key features that we were talking about. But how does it fit into the rest of the M365 ecosystem? So the application can fit directly into other tools that we're already using. If your internet is already in Viva and is already in Viva Connections, oftentimes we see that all company web part on the home page that makes it easy to see company-wide news or just contribute to conversations. Something as little as a reaction goes a long way with Viva Engage. So it plugs right into your internet that can be on Viva Connections. Viva Topics cards and pages showcase conversations, questions, and answers from Viva Engage. Outlook also brings Viva Engage to you with, interactive notifications, highlighting some activity in some communities that you follow throughout the week. SharePoint, I mentioned that you can add those custom web parts, and the Microsoft Teams mobile app can bring Viva Engage with you wherever you are. So again, although it can feel like it's another tool, it seamlessly integrates into your current ways of working. Now, how does Viva Engage, fit into or work with Copilot? So Copilot is another hot topic right now. I know a lot of the companies or, clients that we work with we're working towards a Copilot rollout or adoption initiative right now. And what does that look like for organizations that do leverage Viva Engage? So a couple of different ways. Viva or Copilot is a great way for some organizations to, again, launch Viva Engage for the first time or revitalize some existing communities. I know I'm on a project right now where we're trying to kind of accomplish both of those things with the rollout of Copilot. So one thing that we see works really well is starting up a community for Copilot early adopters. And we have lots of fun and creative names that we can give a community like this. It could be the Copilot community. It could be the Copilot corner. It could be the Copilot collective. Again, we have lots of examples that we can pull from, but it's a great way where we can bring everyone over to this platform, Viva Engage, maybe take them out of Teams, and really cultivate that community of learning from one another and knowledge sharing, posting questions, a way that we can empower those super users. So centralizing those questions and really empowering super users to then go ahead and answer, and just continue to set everyone up for success and learn from one another. So if this is something that you are thinking about doing or that you haven't done yet, it's something that we have seen work really well. And I think to that point, just to help us better understand where you are at with your Viva Engage journey, I'm going to launch a quick poll just to kind of see where you are. So for anyone on the line, please feel free to just quickly answer this brief poll where you are at with your Viva Engage journey. Maybe you're not even sure what it is. Maybe you're currently using another social platform, or you already are on Viva Engage, or if you're looking to migrate to Viva Engage. Definitely want to just see where you're at, and that can help us better understand what level of support or what additional information you may need. And so that's how we can use, Viva Engage as a tool to roll something out like Copilot. But then how did the actual Copilot features integrate into the conversations, that we're seeing in Viva Engage and in our communities? So with Copilot and Viva Engage, we're able to stay up to date on the latest and greatest conversations. Maybe a community like our Copilot community is super active. We see dozens or maybe even hundreds of posts in there a day, depending on what our adoption looks like. And we really want to get caught up on where the most activity is. What are the most important updates, or what are the questions that were most recently answered? Instead of manually sifting through all of those updates and reading through, we can lean on Copilot to, again, just summarize some of those conversations for us. Maybe we see lots of questions posted and we just want to see the answers that were marked as best answer. So the questions and the feedback and the ideas are great, but ultimately we want to know what the answer is. We want to know what information we should be using going forward. So asking Copilot to highlight something like all answers that were marked as best answer. It's a really powerful tool to, again, maybe just help us cut through some of the noise and get us the information that we are looking for. So also a great tool to just further gain insights in case we want to summarize threads or questions or answers, or if we have specific questions around activity that is going on in a community. These are just a couple of easy ways that we can think about using Copilot in Viva Engage, very similar to the way that we see Copilot being used across the rest of our M365 applications. So nothing necessarily groundbreaking here, but it is a great tool to, again, cut through the noise and get us the information that we need a little bit more quickly. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Herman to talk to us more about the migration journey to Viva Engage and what that looks like.
Thank you, Jesse. So now I'll be talking a little bit about the migration, what is migration, and how we can help with that. So essentially, migration to Viva is the way for your organization to bring content from a retiring or sunsetting platform, or maybe consolidate content from various platforms all together in the Viva Engage. For over a decade, Valorem Reply has been doing migrations to Viva Engage, and it enabled us to build a comprehensive migration platform that we call Viva Engage Migration Tool. This tool is built on top of proven extract, transform, load practices, real-world business cases, and seamless integrations. And it comes with several benefits. First thing first, throughout years of experience, we unlocked ability to enable features and APIs that goes beyond standard tooling. Second thing is we have dedicated team that can help you to reshape content and add additional features throughout the migration. And the last but not least, while the main goal is to migrate content into Viva Engage, we actually migrating content throughout entire Microsoft 365 ecosystem. So if you migrate in files or videos or posts, all of them go to appropriate platforms like Microsoft Stream, SharePoint, and the Viva Engage. And now, just talking through the migration process and how does it look like. Valorem Reply defined this process as migration as a service as we execute end-to-end cycle, starting from your Viva Engage environment assessment, finishing with the full production migration. So as I said, we start with the Viva Engage environment assessment, where our technical consultant inspect and assess your current state of your Viva Engage environment. We're looking into things like your network type, your policies, the way of you adopting various features and analytics, and our team can help you and provide some governance recommendations. Next step is to prepare your staging environment. So when we're doing migration from third-party platform, we need to land bronze tier data into the staging location. And our main preference is to leverage staging in the boundaries of Microsoft Azure. And here we are flexible. We are offering various hosting options. You choose to keep your data within your organization's boundaries and your Azure environment, or delegate migration and data governance to Valorem Reply. The next step is to start planning of the migration. We run full source network users discovery. We coming up with the migration plan with the detailed milestones and dependencies, and we execute proof of concept migration that can help you to understand the implications and content shape, feel, and look. And if there are something that you want to adjust, we have a dedicated Valorem Reply development team that can help to investigate and implement custom features and the content transformation before migration begins. And the last but the most important piece is the actual migration. When we run it in a phased approach, we export the content from the source platform, land it into the staging location, and then we execute the import followed by the Delta migration, where we move in the content that has been created during the main part. And now I just wanted to show you the landscape and data flow associated with the migration. Everything starts with the migration source network, where our technical and development team helping you to establish export capabilities of the source network. For instance, with the Salesforce chatter, we will be leveraging SOAP and REST APIs. We will need necessary credentials and binaries that we will need to install in our tool. Or for instance, with the Matter Workplace, we will be enabling API integration and granting it necessary permissions to execute the data export. Once the permission has been granted, we execute the export of the scope data into our encrypted databases in the staging zone in Azure. Technically, it usually comes in a form of SQL database for raw data and the Azure blobs for raw files like PDFs, PowerPoint decks, etc. And then we optionally execute anonymous test migration into the lower environment at your choice. It could be your non-production Microsoft 365 instance. It could be your production instance where we move in test anonymous content into, or it could be even Valorem Reply environment where we can move the content just to give you an idea of the content shape. So once everything is confirmed and all necessary customizations and features are implemented, our migration team will be executing the full migration followed by the Delta migration into your production environment. We also executing the content validation alone just to ensure that all the pieces are moved and nothing is lost along the migration. And now just a few words about what we actually migrate. So we migrate content from various platforms. We migrate content from Jive, Salesforce Chatter, Matter Workplace. We even migrate content from within Viva Engage 2. We call it Viva to Viva migration. The specific use case for that is post-acquisition activity when we want to seamlessly migrate content from different organization and consolidate it, or even group-to-group migration where we just want to merge multiple communities into a single community. And it goes beyond. If we look into migrate the platform that has its own e-discovery and export capabilities, we can explore that like we have with the Slack that we can enable for export. And in terms of the entities that we migrate posts, comments, and replies. We migrate community metadata, including the description, all the information sections, banners, and community images. We migrate in files and polls. We migrate rich text formatting and its metadata, like hashtags, @mentions. We migrate community membership, including admins and owners of those communities. And we also migrate in unique platform features, for instance, Meta Workplace, Knowledge Library. And here, a couple of examples of the content that we migrate. We're really proud that we migrate in the full metadata along, including the original author and original timestamp. We migrate the rich text format. So as you see, we migrate in the quotation blocks, we migrate in the code blocks. Most of the features that I enabled in the Viva Engage are supported in our migration tool. And it's not only about text. As I mentioned, we migrate in the um, comments, replies, files, and here we have the video of a cat that we exported from the Meta Workplace and moved along to the SharePoint and Microsoft Stream and attached to the post in the Viva Engage. And in this specific example, we actually cover in another use case where we migrate in content for employees that left organization, for example, or maybe for those users who does not have Entra account. So in this scenario, we migrate in content on behalf of what we call former employee service account. However, we preserve an original author name at the very top of the post. And yeah, that's all I wanted to cover with the migration. And please feel free to reach out to us if you need any help with anything to migrate. And now over to you, Jesse.
Thank you, Herman. All right, let's see. I'm going to take back control. And really, what we're going to do is just focus on some success stories now. So, you've heard us talk a little bit more about the employee experience, why it's so important to implement that, really the benefits there. And we want to highlight some of the work that we've done, both from the adoption and the, technical and migration side of the house. We do have experience delivering projects globally for some of the world's leading brands that we can see here on this slide. So we work across industries and are trusted by some of the biggest names. So it's super exciting that we get to work with some of these names almost exclusively through referrals. Some of our oldest customers being those like Vodafone and Diageo are still our customers today. So super excited and super proud of a lot of the work we've done here. One of our favorite success stories includes Sky News. So what did we do at Sky News? They used Viva Engage to keep over 30,000 employees connected during the pandemic. So I know it feels like forever ago now, but Viva Engage really was a key tool that organizations look to help bring people together during a time of, just getting everyone out of the office. And when it felt like the world was shut down, how can we really bring people together and use this as an opportunity to continue to lift people up? So Sky News really took advantage of Viva Engage for that, and they were super successful. Within just 3 days, they had 6,000 active users on Viva Engage. And even just the engagement within the communities that they spun up were, the engagement was off the charts. They helped their communities solve lots of their issues that they were reporting without even hitting the service desk. So when we think about what our goals are, is it really a place where do we want to focus on growing community and culture? Do we also want to use it as a tool to mitigate and reduce service tickets? So whatever your ultimate business goals are, there's a way that we can work that strategy into Viva Engage, and which was at the time Yammer for this specific scenario. So this was a great campaign, and of course we worked with our in-house design team to use their specific branding to make everything look like it was coming from in-house, but just really bring it to life. And for Network Rail, their kind of approach to Viva Engage was that they wanted to replace chunky and manual paper, handheld and paper efforts to log documents with a Viva Engage community. So they wanted to, they were like, with Viva Engage, how can we use this as a way to digitize some of our manual processes and just have a more seamless approach to some of the, tasks that we do throughout our workday. So what they wanted to do was use a community to log reports and digitize information. And ultimately, they reported that this new way of working saved managers over 128 hours per month. So with this rollout, they were able to see productivity and collaboration gains. So again, another just way that we can see Viva Engage helping work towards solve some of our business problems. This was a fun campaign because we were able to bring a bit of a creative element into it. You'll see we have some branding there, but we have some illustrations there as well. So this was a fun design discovery to help us understand, okay, what approach do we want to take to the visual element of this? And it's always fun for us when we get to think outside the box a little bit. We have a testimonial here at the bottom from the CEO that says, "My Connect and Yammer is such a brilliant way of sharing experiences across the company, and I find the better everyday examples on there, and they genuinely make my day." So it's great to kind of hear that sentiment from the CEO. They really see the value of the platform. They know the difference that it's making, and they can kind of reinforce the importance and the success of that tool. I'll let Herman just talk. I have a couple of more success stories that we want to highlight. But Herman, did you want to talk about some migration specific successes? So, from the numbers perspective, what you saw on these two projects?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, so with this slide, we just wanted to show how we operate at scale. So no matter if you're looking for the very small content migration or large migration, our migration tool can accomplish both scenarios. For instance, with the Johnson's controls and the migration from Viva to Viva, we we're looking to migrate about 10,000 conversation and files, which we consider a relatively small migration. At the same time, we are capable, and our migration tool is capable to migrate content at a very higher scale. Like, for instance, with the ACOM and migration from Salesforce Chatter, we accomplished to migrate over 100,000 posts migrated from Salesforce Chatter to Viva Engage. So no matter if you're looking for the small or large migration, we can help with that.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Taking a look at our Diageo success story here, this is another way that we saw one of the leaders from our partners really make a campaign out of their presence on Viva Engage. The Diageo CEO created this kind of cadence called Ivan Online, where he again posted announcements, images from his visits from on sites like a tequila distillery, just letting people know what's going on in the background, what a day in his life looked like. So again, another way where leaders really make a true difference to break down those barriers and show what goes on a bit behind the scenes. And my favorite was when Comcast used Viva Engage to launch the Olympics. So this was a great way where we brought everyone together on some of their favorite events, some of their favorite athletes. We know that the Olympics brings people together. So whether you're in it for the sport, for the person, for the community, and just the sense of support and pride for the country, wherever your interest lies, there's a space for that in Viva Engage. And they had their own creative campaign around it. So it was branded, but they used the hashtag Join the Buzz and, encouraged people to post with that hashtag, like their first post and, what they were watching that day or, what they were most interested in. And they saw a steady incline of active engagement from the time that it kicked off to, the end of the Olympics. So this was super exciting to work with them on that. All right, and that just about wraps up our session for today. I know we covered a variety of topics, but we understand that people are at different spots in their Viva Engage journey. So we hope that there was a little bit of something for everyone. We hope that you learned something new. And at this time, we're happy to address any new questions. Feel free to pop them in the Q&A or come off of mute at this time and we can chat through anything. And if there are no questions, we just have a couple of ideas of, where you can go from here, depending on where you are currently within your Copilot, or not your Copilot, your Viva Engage journey. So if you want to dive deeper into Viva Engage, again, if you're just scratching the surface, we do have some resources that we can share with you as far as what it looks like to get Viva Engage up and running and have a successful adoption campaign for Viva Engage. So feel free to reach out to us on that topic, and we're happy to share some getting started resources. spin up a Copilot community. So if you have Viva Engage up and running, if you're introducing AI tools, for example, Copilot, feel free to start a community around it, get people excited, have them knowledge share, maybe collect something like use cases. And again, Copilot is just one example, right? But if that this can be for any tool or any initiative that you're really planning to launch across your organization. And if you're planning your migration, we can help facilitate a discovery phase to really help you understand what this could look like for you based off of the amount of data you have, what you want to keep, if there's an opportunity for content cleanup. Yeah, just understanding your needs and your roadmap to a migration. Feel free to reach out to us for that, or there should be a clickable link in that final picture there. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm happy to follow up with some of those adoption resources. Thank you for the comment. I'll take note of that and follow up accordingly. So lots of good stuff here. We'll send out a follow-up to everyone with the link to this recording, some key takeaways, and then any specifics as mentioned. So keep an eye out for those adoption resources as well. And last but certainly not least, at Valorum Reply, we do have lots of events going on. We like to keep that conversation going. We like to cultivate a space of knowledge sharing and just hearing what you all are interested in and what's next on your roadmap internally and how we may be able to support. So today we talked about Viva Engage, but we do have a couple of additional learning opportunities in the near future. So on October 8th, we have a webinar that's around Copilot for telco, media, and gaming organizations. And we are also running a regular series called the Copilot Newsroom. So for anyone here that is up and running with Copilot, we know that Copilot changes every day. Every day there's something new to learn. So we run a regular cadence where we share what's new with Copilot and what this could look like for your end users, how you can maybe plan around it, or even if you just want to take that information and then cascade it across your organization. We just want to make sure that we are sharing the knowledge and making sure that everyone has the latest and greatest. So lots of great tools here. Thank you so much for the note on the newsroom. Glad you were able to attend, and hopefully we can keep continuing to add value there. So please join us if we can. We'd love to have you at any of these upcoming sessions. And if you have any questions related to Viva Engage, Copilot, or anything M365 related, feel free to reach out to Herman or myself, and we're happy to field any questions that you may have. But if there's nothing else, I won't keep you. I do want to thank everyone for joining today. Thank you so much for your time, and I will follow up with those items mentioned. Thank you all. Have a great day.